Welcome to the sensory evaluation of vanilla ice cream. I am your narrator, Greg Housley. For starters, ice cream is just an emulsion, everybody. It is just a big emulsion of fat. Fat, however, is responsible for all of the good things we love about ice cream. The texture, the flavor, the mouthfeel, the way it melts the way it does. We hypothesized that if you decrease the fat content, there will be a negative effect that can be easily picked up by sensory attribute panelists. We tested 5 different ice creams to see how they held up to our hypothesis. The reason for our hypothesis is because there has been an increased demand for healthier foods and therefore healthier ice cream. You can now go to a supermarket and see fat-free, sugar-free options all around you. The fat has been replaced with, ironically, fat replacers. Gotta love people who name stuff. It is healthier than fat, but the side effects are still being assessed. The ice cream was rated on a 15 centimeter line scale and then recorded, run through an ANOVA analysis with the gracious help of Dr. Ross. For our standards, we decided to use a vanilla bean for aroma, which we kept in a vial, which we would open, take 3 short, sharp sniffs, which we learned from something else, and use that to establish how much of vanilla aroma the ice cream had, or compared to the vanilla bean. For color, we used a paint sample called Touch of Vanilla, which was acquired from Ace Hardware. We held it up next to the ice cream and decided how close it was to our standard. For creaminess, we just used regular heavy cream, unwhipped, just regular liquid. We sloshed it around in our mouths so we could get taste and how the mouthfeel was and how it coated. And we used that to mimic how we thought creaminess should feel, at least for ice cream. On density, we used a can of whipped cream, filled our mouth with it, or at least our tongue, and then squished it around to see how easily it was and how much work it was to move it around in our mouths. Last but not least, we had an ice cube for the rate of melting. We placed an ice cube in our mouths, we let it sit and melt, and we timed how long it took before we could easily manipulate it with our tongues and teeth without causing serious harm or making too much noise. For our samples, we wanted a wide scale of data, so we decided to choose all vanilla flavored ice cream, but from varying the makers. We chose Breyers Natural Vanilla because it had the fewest ingredients. See how simpler is better held up. Its number was 615. Dreyer's Slow Churned, No Sugar with added vanilla bean ice cream we chose because it had no sugar. Wanted to see how it held up. For classiness, we chose the most expensive ice cream on the shelf, which was the Tillamook Vanilla Bean, just so that we could, feel sophisticated while we were testing. Then we went to the other side of the scale and found Winco's Vanilla Bean ice cream, which was the cheapest. I want to see if there was any real hype behind what Tillamook was saying, and just how good Winco really is. Last but not least, again, we had Breyers Lactose-Free Vanilla to see how the lactose-free ice cream compared to lactose ice cream. And we chose Breyers because we already had Breyers ice cream and wanted to see how the original tasted compared to the lactose-free. For methods, we decided to go for a very simple system. We had all the ice cream in separate containers, one for each panelist, all 5 separate and numbered. We would separate, randomize the sampling order ourselves, taste each one, rate each individually on a 15 centimeter line scale, then we came back, refilled, re-randomized, and then did everything again. Our results were ran through an ANOVA analysis system with the help of Dr. Ross, much thanks to her. And our results were recorded, and this is what we found. The fat content did affect the likability of ice cream. I was very shocked about that. Not really. As far as our analysis went, Tillamook held up very well. It took 4 of our 5 categories, taking the gold in color, vanilla aroma, density, and rate of melting. The only thing that Tillamook was not the highest rated in was creaminess, which was actually a big surprise for everyone, since that was held by the Breyers lactose-free ice cream, the one that no one expected to be anywhere near the top, for that particular attribute, at least. The graphic here makes it easier to see how everything lined up. On the outside, we have Tillamook reigning supreme in all 4 of its categories, with the inside being filled primarily with 316, which was the Dreyer's sugar-free ice cream, and number 140, which was the Winco ice cream. 615 was the normal Breyers, and it scored very low on color. It was the whitest of them all. The biplot here shows a different side of our analysis, but a very similar story. Over on its own, at a far greater scale than any of the other samples we have, there is 497, which is the Tillamook ice cream, crowded by 3 of our 5 attributes. As you can see, color, density, and rate of melting are very close relatively to the Tillamook ice cream, far closer than any other sample. Both Breyers, the lactose-free at 742, and the regular Breyers at 615, occupy quadrant 1, with creaminess and vanilla aroma. And our outliers, partially not really to anyone's surprise, was the cheap Winco 140 and the sugar-free Dreyer's at 316, which was so far away from any of our attributes, it's surprising it's even on the same graph. So, our conclusion was that the fat content related negatively to the melting rate, but positively to the density and to the aroma, which made sense if you think about it, because the more dense ice cream is, the slower it would take to melt. And since the aroma will be trapped inside of the fat, as it would melt, the aroma will be released and you will smell it more. The ice cream with the highest fat content scored consistently highest, and that, of course, was the Tillamook ice cream. Our other conclusion, unfortunately, was that our panelist needs a little bit more training. We saw there was a lot of significance between not only the samples, but between our panelists. And so if we were going to be more accurate next time, we will need significantly more training. Our hypothesis was proven correct, and I leave you with the thought that if you're going to eat ice cream, eat ice cream, because it's supposed to be dessert, it's supposed to be enjoyed, and if you're going to enjoy dessert, why on earth would you eat a dessert that has fat replacers in it? Thank you very much, and have a nice day.